Good evening everyone. So today we are going to continue our lectures, Dhamma talks on PāRAMī. We have been discussing what PāRAMīs are and also how we define the PāRAMīs and what sort of mindset that we should have in order to fulfill PāRAMīs. We also discussed some aspects about the three bodhis and how they are related with the PāRAMīs. And now we are in the context of Dana PāRAMī, and we also talked what is Dana PāRAMī and how to perform Dana PāRAMī and some variations, and also we discussed few stories about the Dana PāRAMī. So today also I am going to talk about one of the major stories of Bodhisattva related to Dana PāRAMī. This is we call the most significant story in which the Bodhisattva fulfilled his Dana PāRAMī. It is known as Vesantara Jataka. This is the last human life before Siddhartha. And after Vesantara Jataka, he went to divine. He was born in the Tusita realm. So then he was born as Siddhartha and became enlightened. Now, this Vesantara Jataka is a very long story, and I'll start to brief it as much as possible and talk about the essence of this story. So the story starts with his mother, how his mother was born in the human realm first, and he was the chief wife of the Sakka in the previous life, and he was born in the human realm. She was born in the human realm, and she was known as the Queen Pusati later on. She was known as Queen Pusati, and this was Mahamaya in the previous life. And she wished to have a Bodhisattva as her child, and her wish became fulfilled because a great being who has already fulfilled the Paramis to a very great extent and who is very close to become a Sammasambuddha was born in her womb, and she gave birth to this great human being. And this the Bodhisattva was born in a street of the merchants. So he was given the name Vesantara, and the moment he was born, it is mentioned in the books that he talked miraculously. There are three occasions in the Bodhisattva's life, the stories, in which he talked as soon as he was born. That first one is as the Mahosada in the Ummagga Jataka, Mahosada. The moment he was born, he was carrying, the Sakka gave a certain medicine to his hand. He was carrying that, and then parents asked, "What is this?" Then he said, "This is a great medicine." That's the first time he talked. Then the second life he talked was as the Vesantara. When he was born, he just asked his mother, "Mother, is there something to offer?" So mother instantly gave a bag of 1,000 coins, and she said, "Yes, there's a lot of money to offer," because she was wishing. She knew this is a special being who was born, and she had the inclination to support such a being, and then when it was given to him, he suddenly gave it to, he dropped it to the one. He accepted that, and he offered it on that spot to the others. Others means he dropped it. Then. So he was given the name Vesantara, and that's the second occasion. Third occasion was in the last life, where he talked and even walked as soon as he was born. We have to keep in mind that even though these miracles happened during his birth, after the birth he was an ordinary being. He couldn't talk, he couldn't walk. So these were great signs that were happening at his birth. Especially as Siddhartha, he walked as soon as he was born. It's mentioned in the sutras. And the commentators say that was just an indicator of his glory that he is going to attain in this life. Otherwise, as after he was brought to the palace, he was just an ordinary person. He was like an ordinary child that he couldn't walk or he couldn't talk. And he grew up gradually. Yeah, sorry, I just want to interrupt. When the coins were given to the child, he didn't offer it on that moment. It was given to him. He didn't offer that to someone. Then later on, when he was 4 or 5 years old, his father made a cloth, like something to cover his body, something for him to wear, which was very much expensive, 100,000, which was of the value of 100,000 coins. Then of those days. Then while he was wearing, one time he removed it and offered to his the fostering mothers. And then he didn't, when they were returning it, he didn't take it back. Then the father thought, okay, my son, if something is given by my son, it's properly given. So he created another garment like that. So likewise, he offered on 9 occasions. He offered the things like the clothings that were 100,000 coins valuable to his foster mothers on 9 occasions. And this was like a very small, at the age of a very small child, like about 4, 5, 6 years. So then at the age of 8, now this Bodhisattva is the person who has practiced for 404 asankayas and 100,000 eons, have been practicing dana in numerous lives, and also before that, before he became destined, even from that period, he has been practicing dana uncountably. So then he had a thought at the age of 8, I have been offering all the requisites to others as a child. I haven't given my body part, any of the parts of my life, any of the limbs, the parts of my body. So it would be nice if I could offer some parts to someone. So then he sat on the bed in the meditating posture, and he started to contemplate. He thought, if someone is in need of eyes, may he come to me. I will remove my eyes and give it to the person. If someone is in need of flesh, let him come to me. I will cut my flesh and offer to this person. If someone is in need of blood, let him come to me. I will offer the blood and cut my fingers and let him to suck my blood. Then if someone is in need of my heart, I will remove it and offer to the person. If someone is in need of half of my body, I can still offer half of my body. If someone is in need of myself, is in need of a slave, I will abandon my kingship, my princehood, and I will become a slave. And he started to contemplate this many times, again and again and again, sitting on the bed. At that time, the earth, as if guaranteeing his capacity, started to shook. So this was one of the very special moments that he could, even his contemplation was capable of causing an earthquake, because he is a person, if someone had come at that moment, he would have surely offered those things that he wished. So, and he had done it in many lives in the past. So then so this is the first special occasion in his life. We stopped at his first contemplation about his donations. Then at the day he was born, a special elephant was brought to him. According to the literature, there are some elephants who could fly, Akasachari elephants. If someone asks me the question, where are they now, I am unable to answer this question. So somehow there is an elephant that he got. He possessed such an elephant. As the literature says, one elephant came and let it on his in the palace, and he got it. Right, that at that day, an elephant was given to him. It's not that the elephant was born on that day. An elephant was given to him. Given to him means established on that. It was kept in this palace, in the elephant yard. And this elephant was white color, and it says that it had the power to cause rain. So whenever this elephant goes to some place, it can cause the rain. It can cause the rain to happen. So this elephant was very precious to the country, and it was a very valuable object. it was Vesantara's private property actually. But it was so valuable that even people consider it as a property of the royal family. So it should be, they considered it as a public property. That's how it seems like when you read the story. So one day, so this elephant was Vesantara's in his possession, and at a certain time in the country of Kalinga, a very long lasting drought occurred. Drought means there was no rain. And then when they were finding out proper means to cause rain, some instructed the king, said that there is a special elephant in the city of Vesantara, in the King Vesantara's city. So you better go to him and ask for this, because he is very renowned for donating for the ones who are asking, because he had been donating so much wealth and requisites to poor. He established 6 Dhanasalas, 4 in the 4 directions of the city, in the 4 gates, at the 4 gates, and 1 in the center of the city, and 1 in front of the king's palace. So these were the 6 places where the Dhanasalas were established, and in every Dhanasala 100,000 coins were spent for donating. So the royal family was immensely wealthy. So but still they gave this money and supported the poor people. So the kings of Kalinga instructed some Brahmins and told them to go to Vesantara and ask for this white elephant, so they could end the drought in their kingdom. And by that time, his father gave the kingship to him. At the age of 16, he talked with his mother, the Pusati Devi. The king talked with the mother and arranged a good marriage to Vesantara, and they bought a very beautiful, well-behaved princess named Maddi. Maddi was given to him, and they married. And later on, she gave birth to 2 children, a son and a daughter. Son was called Jalia, and the daughter was called Kanhajina, because she was accepted. Jalia was when he was born. They accepted him into a golden net. Kanhajina she was accepted into a skin of a black leopard. So they were given those names, and so they were living a very happy, full life and full of donations. And one day, these Brahmins approached the king and asked for the elephant. Then one day he was going on the elephant's back to one of his Dhanasalas, offering places. People came, these Brahmins came and requested for the white elephant. So from the moment they asked for it, he was very delighted and he just wanted to offer it. And he didn't offer the elephant just plainly. He decorated the elephant very much, and also together with the families who were taking care of the elephant, with entire decorations, he offered the elephant to the Brahmins. And even the earth shook at that moment. Then what happened was, there was a conflict between the people and the intention of the Bodhisattva. The commentaries say that it was due to the influence of the deities. Deities influenced the people and caused anger, and then the entire society became angry with Vesantara. Personally, my feeling is that you can see a reason for that. That is my opinion, but according to the commentaries, it was caused by the deities. As I see it now, this was the personal property of Vesantara, because the elephant was bought on that day, and it was for him. But the people thought, maybe the people would have thought, that this is a royal property and the royal family is being supported and it's the head of the state, and the things that such things that are very valuable to the entire country, because it's sort of a thing that can cause rain to the country. So it's not only something should be confined to the royal family, it's for the entire country, and the royal family is responsible of the welfare of the whole country. So they might have thought that Vesantara had given something which is a public property. A public property. For example, when a government leases public property to a company, some parties, especially the communist ones who are bordering the communist side, they would always make uprisings and say this is the property has been leased or been offered or been sold to another company. So likewise, people might have thought that Vesantara had given a property without their consent to another country, and if a drought arises in us, who is going to save us in the future? So there was a huge uprising in the country against Vesantara's donation. But from the Vesantara's point of view, he hasn't given anything, he hasn't done any fault, because it was his personal property. It was his elephant. So he had he is entitled with the right to offer it to anyone whom he wishes. So from his point of view, he has done a dana, he has donated a valuable thing. Yes, it's true that it's valuable it's beneficial for the entire country, but still it's his own property. So therefore, the people gathered in front of the palace, and the former king, Vesantara's father, was still alive, and they rebelled and said, you have to send your child, he has sold a very important thing in our country. And actually their request was, maybe this was the influence of the Devas, because their request was to kill Vesantara. Or maybe the Devas caused the rebellion and people went to the extreme of killing, asking to kill. So it was an extreme request that the people were making to kill Vesantara for the deed that he has done. Yeah. So their question was, he could have given anything, food or any other requisite, but why did he offer this elephant? Why did he offer this elephant? So actually they were requesting to punish him. So then the father thought, if I don't punish him, surely they would take they would attack the royal family. They would enter into the palace and they would cause a rout and kill my son. So he was very upset and he had to make a decision. In order to save his child. So it was a huge uprising that was coming in the country. And from the Vesantara's point of view, he hasn't done any fault, but this was a contradiction. So that his father had to face the situation of taking a decision, otherwise it was he would not be able to control the people, the mob who was going to attack the royal family. Yeah. So then he decided that may the people not kill my son, and he promised to the people. Actually, they were not asking to kill him, they were asking to punish him. King felt, if I don't punish the person, they are going to take him and surely they are going to kill him. So he said, okay, wait for a while, I'm going to punish him. So then he decided that he will send Vesantara from the kingdom. He will send the Vesantara from the kingdom. Even mother was opposing the situation, but father had to take a decision. And then he sent the message to Vesantara saying, you have to leave the country, you have to abandon the country, give up the kingship and leave the country for what you have done. So then Vesantara sent to his father a message, yes, I will leave the country, but not tomorrow. Tomorrow I need to spend the time. I want that tomorrow for my own work, and then I'll leave the country next day. So then he talked to Madhi, his wife, and she was also supporting him in his donations, and he said, now tomorrow we are going to bury, or we are going to save some of the wealth that you possessed from your parents and also from the things that I have. So we are going to like save them. So then Mandi was very upset because Vesantara had never talked about saving the money, but he was always talking about giving it to someone. He was such a generous person. Then Mandi was a bit upset and said, you have never said me to save money, save the wealth, but now you are telling on this special last day. Then he said, no, no, no. Actually, the real saving of wealth is donating. Because when you donate the money or when you donate the wealth, you are accumulating a merit that in future you will get much, much, much wealth. So therefore, he decided that he wanted to organize a donation, Satta Satika Dana. Few things that everything contained 700 items of things. So then he arranged this donation with his retinue, and he wanted to offer this to the people. Then at that time he made another decision, which is not very encouraging in our sasana. He thought, now I'm going to spread the message that tomorrow Vesantara Raja, before leaving the country, is going to offer give a huge donation. So if people who are drunkards would come to this place, they would feel like, okay, there was everything but no alcohol. So he asked the people to keep some alcohol as well, so it can be donated, which is not a wholesome dana, but he included alcohol into his great donation. So this is called Satta Satika Dana, and on the next day this was given. So as the commentary says, I was going through the commentary, it says when they asked him to punish him, they had said to the king, don't kill him, don't imprison him, just send him out of the kingdom. That was their request. So king thought if he is not going to punish, they are going to come and kill the son. That was what was happening. So then the Satta Satika Dana means he offered 7 items, seven types of 700 items. They were, as the commentary says, hatti elephants, 700 elephants, 700 horses, 700 vehicles, chariots, 700 ladies, 700 cows who had milk, and then 700 male slaves and 700 female slaves. So this was because slavery was very common on those days, so he made such offerings. Those were the offerings that he made, and also various food items were there. So people could come and collect whatever they want. So when the news spread, many people came and they gathered many items. Yeah. So then after making this offering, he was ready to go to the forest on next day. So he had a discussion with his wife. Because wife was ready to come with him. He was doubtful because it's so dangerous that even his life was at risk, because the forest is full of dangerous animals. So he said, so don't come, let me go by myself. And he also said to his wife, so don't keep expectations on me, because it's not sure that whether I will return again or not, because I have been banished from the country. So if you find a good person, you marry him and live a good happy life with him. So don't keep expectations on me, and look after the children very well, and I will, because if you find that the person who take care of you very well, please marry him and live, and I will go to the forest by myself and live there by myself. So that was his request. But Mandi opposed it. She said, no, it's not possible for me to live without you, because it's better for me to kill myself, or it's better to me to go into a fire rather than living without, because she truly loved him so much. So then she said, I want to come with you, and also the children would not live without me. So therefore I will take my children and follow you. So that was their decision. So then the grandparents tried to stop Mandi from taking the children, but she was reluctant and she said, no, they cannot live without me. And they even told Vesantara to not take them. He said, I am not asking anyone to come, but they are coming with you. So he couldn't stop her, so he just kept silent. So grandparents were telling, at least don't take the children. So they will suffer a lot in the forest. But Mandi was of the different opinion. So then they took the leave, they left the country. So mother thought, while my son is traveling on the chariot, people will still come and ask for things, because he was very famous of donating things. So many beggars or poor people or someone would come and surely ask for things. So he filled the cart with a lot of goods, and then on the way, while they were going, people came and asked for many things. So he gave all what was in the cart, and also in the end, he also donated the chariot and also the horses who were carrying it. So he donated everything, and then later on he had to walk on the way with his wife and the children. And then on the way, while they were traveling, Vesantara took Jalia into his hands and the son, who was a bit heavier, and then Kannajina was taken by the Mandi. And while they were traveling, the children were hungry and they requested for fruits on the which were on the trees beside the road. And it's mentioned in the book, because of this great human being who has sacrificed many things in his samsara with the intention of becoming a Samma Sambuddha in future, due to his PāRAMī, even the trees bent towards him. So he could easily pluck the fruit and give it to his children. So Mandi was thinking, how great my husband is. This person, because she has witnessed his donations throughout this life, and she knew surely this person is someone who has done lots of donations in samsara. That's why he has that inclination towards donating. So then she was surprised, actually, seeing the miracles that were happening because of her husband. So they walked this way, likewise carrying together with their children. Yeah. So then they went into another city, and the people of that city accepted them very well, and they were happy to shelter him in their country. So Vesantara thought, because people in my country are so angry with me, therefore they banish me. If they get to know that this country is supporting me and taking care of me, there could be a civil war going on. Because he knew the anger of the people in his city, Jayatura city. So he rejected their offering. They said, please, you can live with us, we'll take care of you. But he said, no, if it happens, it's going to be a problem between the two countries. So he was concerned about that. Then he said, I'll go to the Vankagiri, that forest, and I'll live there as an ascetic. So then he took the leave from that city as well, and he went to the forest with his family. So that kingdom was called Chetaratta. So he left that kingdom, and then he went into Vankagiri. There's a long story that goes there, why he met some people on the way as well. So somehow he went to a certain place, and there was two kutis were there, and they were built by the Sakka, ordering some other deity. So then he knew there are two kutis, so he thought, I will live in one kuti and let the wife spend the time, live in the another kuti with the children. So then he went into one kuti, and he saw there were parikaras for samanas, and there was a leopard skin. So he wore it. He gave up his king's clothes and wore the leopard skin, and he determined to be an ascetic, to live apart from the household life. He became an ascetic. So first he led the family, children and the wife outside the ashram. Ashram means the hermitage, and he went in and he came as an ascetic. So when Mandi saw her husband, who used to live as like a deity, as being a king, now has turned himself into an ascetic, she was very sad. And then Vesantara told, and she also turned into an ascetic, and he said, now from this place and onwards, we are ascetics and we are not the husband and wife as before, so don't come to my monastery, my kuti, in an inappropriate time. And he made the agreement with her, and she said, you don't need to, please give me a chance, you don't need to go to collect the food, let me do that, and at the daytime I'll go to the forest, I'll collect the food and bring and prepare the food for you and to the children. So they came into the agreement and they started to live as ascetics. Then while they were living so, in the country of Kalinga, there was a Brahmin called Jujaka. This Brahmin had a wife named Amitta Tapana, and she was taking care of Jujaka, her husband, very well. But though the husband was very old, she was taking care of him very well. But in other families of Brahmins, there were young husband and wives. The young women were not taking care of their husbands very much. So the young Brahmin husbands scolded their wives, saying that, look at Amitta Tapana, she is taking care of her husband very much, even though he is very old. What happened to you all? You are not treating us very well. So this became a huge problem for the young ladies of the other families. So then they decided to mock Amitta Tapana, to bully Amitta Tapana, and to chase her from this village so they could live happily. So one day they bullied her and she was very much offended. They bullied, saying that your husband is very old and all this, and she didn't want to go to collect the food and do the duties because many women were gathering there. And she came back and said, no, I will not go to collect the water again, I will not go to do your duty again, because those women are mocking me or bullying me. So you have to bring me to a slave. You have to bring me slaves, so they will do my work. I'm not going to do it anymore. And Jujaka said, how can I find slaves, because I am not capable of doing that. So she said, no, if you have to somehow bring me, because otherwise I'm not going to support you anymore. So then he said, okay, then I will go. And then he said, where can I find 2 slaves? So she said, there is the King Vesantara has abandoned his kingship and is living in Vankagiri, and he has 2 children. He is a person renowned to give anything that someone requests. He's such a generous person. You might go to him and ask for the 2 children. He might give you. So Jujaka agreed to her, and he left to get the 2 children. So actually, she said to go and ask for slaves. She didn't expect to get the 2 children. She said to him, he is living in the Vankagiri, go and ask from him, then he will give you slaves. But unfortunately, it was only his children were there. So then Jujaka somehow went a long journey and went into the Vankagiri, and he requested for slaves, and he requested for the 2 children from the King Vesantara. Right. So then what happened, on the night before, Mandi saw a very dreadful dream. She saw Yakka coming to her and removing her 2 eyes, and she saw that this dreadful dream, and she was very frightened of what is going to happen. Something was going to happen that day, and he came to, before leaving to collect the food, he told the children to be safe today, and she was very uncomfortable that day, and went to King Vesantara, the ascetic Vesantara, and also said, I saw such a dream. Vesantara had a thought that maybe someone is going to come and ask for my children. So he thought that it seems like a sign that I'm going to get an opportunity to offer my children. So then that day she said to look after the children very much. She said that I'm a bit afraid of my children. So then she went to pluck the fruit. On the way, that was a very strange day for her. Her basket fell down, the stick fell down, and she was always restless that day while she was collecting for the food. Then while she was out, Jujaka came, approached Vesantara. So when the Jujaka was coming, both the children came to accept him because he was a visitor. They were well behaved. And when the Jujaka thought, these are the ones who are going to be my slaves, so I have to be very rude from the beginning. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for me to control them. So he just showed a very angry gesture to the children. So they were afraid and they ran back. And then he approached the king and praised the king. King was sitting and he welcomed Jujaka. And he said his requirement. I came from so far away, so I wanted to have slaves for my wife. So please, I need some slaves. So he requested. So he requested for the children. He said, give me your children. Then he was so happy to hear this news because he is going to offer his children. So this seems very strange for us when we hear the story, but in order to be a Buddha, a person has to offer anything that is possible to be offered, even the parts of the body, even his entire life. And according to those days' customs, the husband was the owner of the wife, and also the father is the owner of the children. So as he owned them, it is considered that he has the right to offer the children and the wife if they give the consent. So bodhisattvas used to do this, but if you look into this in present day's context, this seems to be something very strange and rude, that he is giving up his responsibilities as a husband or a father. But given the context of those days, ancient days, this was something which is possible. Some people may not have liked it, but it is mentioned in the books that in order to be a Buddha, one has to fulfill this kind of letting go. Only then one will be able to achieve that Buddhahood. So then he said, okay, I will. He was very happy about his request, and he said, yes, I will offer you, but stay tonight because the mother is going to come. I have to tell her also. And so then after she came, you can have meal here, and next day you can live with my children. So that was the reply Vesantara gave. He was very much happy to offer the children to Jujaka. So then Jujaka said, if you don't want to give me, just directly tell me that you don't want to give me. Don't do any tricks, because it's sure if the mother comes, she will never let the children to be offered. So if you give them to me, give them now before the mother comes. And this was too much of asking, but Vesantara felt okay. What he says also makes sense, and he has given the word that he is going to offer the children. Then he wanted to offer them on that moment. So then we searched for them. Children had gone. They knew, they overheard the discussion, and they knew the father is going to offer them. And they went and they discussed, okay, may each other that not to tell the whereabouts of the other. They went and hid in the pond, and they hid themselves in the water. And Vesantara came, saw their footprints, and came. Then he found that they have hid themselves. Then he said, Jaliya, please come. So it is mentioned that this Jaliya was Rahula. So that was the Bodhisattva's character, that when he said him to come, he was so obedient and he was so respectful to the Bodhisattva, and that he would never delay and let him call him twice. He would never delay that So the father would call him twice, that he considered it as a disrespect for the father. So he came. Then he asked, where's your sister? Then he said, while we are saving for our lives, we are not going to we are not going to say each other, right? Because we hid ourselves. So then he said, okay, Kannajina, he called for her as well. She also came to him. So then he said then there was a discussion going between the three of them. Kannajina was Uppalavanna, and Jariya said, when there is a danger, we protect ourselves only. So that's why Vesantara understood maybe they have had a agreement not to tell the whereabouts of each other. So then he called, she came, and they had a discussion. He said, my dear sons, the Brahmin is requesting for you all, both of you, and I am wishing to be a Buddha one day. I want to liberate myself and also to liberate all of you from this round of rebirths. So this was a very emotional conversation between both of them, but Bodhisattva's idea was, he felt that this samsara, because he knew there's a rebirth and the samsara is going on, and no one has found a way out of this cycle of rebirths, because it's been continuously happening, and he found that every birth ends with death, decay, death, and also with sickness, and this is happening, repeatedly happening, and this is the round of cycle. There's a cycle of suffering, and there has to be a way out from this, and Bodhisattva himself doesn't know the exact way. It's only been explained by a Buddha, Samma Sambuddha, to the world. So, but he had a vision, he had a determination and a belief that if I am able to reach the culmination of wisdom, if I am able to develop my wisdom to the highest level one day, and if I reach the omniscience, I will be able to, because reaching omniscience means knowing everything. So if I am able to know everything, I'll surely be able to know the way out of this samsara. And I'll have the skill to preach it to others as well. So he was like in a life that he knew that he's not going to do it in this life as well. He knew it's not the life to do this. So he's still fulfilling his paramis. So he thought, yes, his intention was, in order to reach that level, I have to let go all my desires, including the desire to my children and to my body as well. So I have to, only if I donate them, my mind will grow into that level that one day I'll reach the omniscience. So I'll be able to liberate beings from this from the samsara. So then he said, I have such a wish. So would you help me to reach this? So be a boat, so I could cross this ocean of samsara and also show the way to others to cross this ocean. So children had a strong trust on their father. They believed their father very much. They said, if you need to give us in order to be a Buddha, Samma Sambuddha one day, yes, okay. In this life, yes, you can donate us, no problem. So we will be happily accepting that. So then they cried. Even the Bodhisattva cried, because they were two children. He loved them so much, and the children loved him so much. He was a very good father, and they were very adorable, very nice children who were very meritorious and who had a lot of merits from samsara. So Bodhisattva had the feelings, he had the emotions, he cried, but then he strengthened his mind. He went to the Jujaka, offered the children, and the earth shook. So then Jujaka tied the left hand of Kannajina with the right hand of Jaliya and held the rope, and he took them. So Mahasatta, the Bodhisattva, has made the donation, and he was very happy about his donation. He was contemplating it sitting. So while traveling, the Jujaka smashed or hit the children, hitting them. And he wanted to show the dominance that he has, so they will always be obedient to him. On the way, somehow he tripped and fell down. So at that time the children got escaped and they ran. Jaliya came quickly to the Bodhisattva and he showed him how they have hit him, how he has hit them. And then he said, please, it seems like you have given us not to a human, he is like a demon. He has no compassion at all. So then Bodhisattva was silent because he had given it, now it's not his, they don't belong to him. That was his concept. Then Jaliya said, okay, if you offer us, please don't offer. Keep us till our mother comes. Show us to them. So we can pay respect to our mother. And also then we can say goodbye to her. So please keep us so till our mother comes. So after that, let him take us. So please keep us till our mother comes. That was his request. Bodhisattva didn't react to what Jaliya was saying. So then while he was there, the Khanda Jina also came, Jajaka, and that time Jaliya requested one thing. Okay, if you want to offer us, please offer me only. Keep the sister. She is very, very young and she is not able to live without our mother. So keep her with you and just offer me only. So I can do the work for this person. So Bodhisattva was still silent. And then Jujaka came and took them away. He was silent. But at that time, a strong sorrow arose in Bodhisattva's heart. So then while they were going, they said to the father, please tell to our mother that we are fine. So please tell to her that we are okay and may you also be happy and live long. So the two children were blessing the father from their whole heart and while they were being taken by Jujaka. At that time, Bodhisattva's sorrow was too intense and it was difficult to bear. So then at that time he was unable to stay there. He went into the kuti and he started to cry by himself. So this seems to be, it showed that he himself, even though he was a Bodhisattva, he himself was a human. So he had done the sacrifice, he had made the sacrifice on behalf of everyone, on behalf of us and even on behalf of the children. One day he is going to liberate them, including them from the samsara. And he did it not because he didn't like the children, but he wanted the omniscience so he could liberate the others. So he was in a sort of mid of a struggle. He loved the children, but he liked the omniscience more than that. So then he decided to offer them. So he went to the monastery. He went into the monastery kuti, and he started to cry. So it was too strong, and he had the desire also. Thought arose in him that he could take his weapon, because he had the weapon with him. He brought it with him to go and kill Jujaka and to take the children back. That much sorrow and disappointed arose in him because seeing the behavior of Jujaka, because that was unbearable as a father. So at that time, Bodhisattva recontemplated. Yes, it's true that what the Jujaka is doing is wrong, but it's also wrong for me to regret after donating something. I belong to the lineage of Bodhisattvas. I am in the pursuit of omniscience. So all of them who had reached the omniscience had donated body parts, wealth, kingdom, children, wives. Only then they were able to reach the omniscience. So I'm among them. So it's not proper for a person like me to regret about the donations that I have done, especially to kill the person and get what I have offered again. So it's not something proper. He subdued his wealth and his sorrow, and he went out and sat on the rock and started to meditate again, like contemplate his dana again, like a statue, like he was sitting and meditating. So while they were being taken, the children said they were crying. They were crying and especially the child was crying, like uttering words, and he said, Jaliya said one very nice thing. It is said by the wise people of a child, if the child doesn't have a mother but has a father, it's like he doesn't have them. It means they felt the compassion of the mother surpass the compassion of the father. So if a mother could never be able to do this, but this father who has donated us, and it's okay that he donated, but seeing this injustice, that how they are treating us, how he's treating us, he's still silent. So it seems like he doesn't have a heart. So they were like, they were okay, they consented their donation, the donation of offering them, but at the same time, they never expected this kind of an outcome. So when this was seen, they felt now father had to do something, because still he's our father. But he, Bodhisattva, was not attending, and he was not looking at them, or he was not going to save them. So they felt like abandoned. They felt really helpless. So they were crying on the way. So then what happened again? The two children escaped from the Brahmi, and they again came back running towards their father. And Jujaka also followed them and took them and captured them and took them. At this time, the daughter, because last time the son was begging, this time the daughter turned towards father and said, Father, this is not a human being. It seems like he's taking us to eat. He's not treating us as human. So she was crying, looking at the father, because normally it's a tendency that fathers love their daughters very much, and fathers normally take it as a responsibility to protect their daughter. So the sorrow again arose in the Bodhisattva, and he said in the commentary that it was difficult for him to breathe. He couldn't breathe with his nostrils. He had to open his mouth in order, because it was too hot, too intense. The pain, the sorrow was too intense, and it was difficult for him to breathe. And he opened his mouth and breathed in and out. And then he also contemplated, this sorrow is because of my attachment towards the children. It's all because of this attachment. So I have to suppress this. This attachment is not going to give me any comfort. So then he again suppressed his attachment and kept silent. So then that donation was given, and later Mandi came back, the wife came back. So that time she had some thought that there's something wrong has happened, and then when she came back, she looked for her children. Normally when she returns, the daughter and son comes to her and hugs her, but today they didn't come. So she felt something strange, and she couldn't find them in their normal places. So kept the food, and then she went to Bodhisattva's kuti. That day she was a bit late. It is said in the commentaries, 3 deities in the figures of wild animals, they prevented her from coming till the Bodhisattva had done the donation. So then she came back, and Bodhisattva was silent. Then she asked, where are the children? So she had a doubt, because she knows the generosity of her husband. So Bodhisattva just didn't reply. So then, when he kept silent, Mandi said, so I don't see my children, and you are not talking with me anymore. So this hurts me more than anything, because she loved him so much, and she was a very faithful lady. And she asked, why are you not talking to me? Because I'm asking a question. So she said, this hurts me more than anything. So then Visantara thought, rather than saying what has happened, he wanted to be a bit rude. And he said, did you remember your children now? You have been wandering in the forest till late night. There are many men in the forest. There are many hunters in the forest. So how could we know that you have had affairs with them? Why are you coming this late? Is it proper for you to come at this moment and ask searching for your children? That was his reply. It was so rude, and that was the purpose, was to distract her mind, and then she had to answer. She said, no, what has happened was, today I was very restless. I couldn't find couldn't collect the food properly. Things fell down from me and I couldn't do the work as before. My mind was restless, so that's why I became late, and also some animals hindered my way to this place. So she had to tell her innocence and that she didn't break the trust of the Bodhisattva. So then the Bodhisattva didn't talk with her anymore. So she went outside and searched the areas where children would normally wander. She came back and said again to Bodhisattva. He was still silent. She did this 3 times, and the end, on the 3rd occasion, when the Bodhisattva was silent, she couldn't find her children, and Bodhisattva is silent, and she fainted. She in the end fainted. She thought the children had died, so it was too hard for her to bear. Then Bodhisattva thought the wife has died. So he thought she has died, and it seems like he was emotional he was able to control his emotion, and this is too intense for a human being to bear actually. So then he thought, if Mandi had died as a queen, she would be treated with all the respect as a queen, and she had died in this forest, not in a proper place for her to die. So then he thought, it's now my time to look at her. So then he determined that he hasn't touched her wife for 7 months, and he made the determination, gave up his sila, and then she touched her, took her into his hands and touched her. So she touched and he touched and felt whether the heart is working. And then he was too, because he knew, because he hadn't touched the wife since 7 months, he had the mindfulness and touched her, and then knowing that her heart was still working, and he couldn't control himself. He couldn't establish sati. He suddenly took her onto her lap and started to treat her and spread water on her face. And he rubbed her chest, and so she could become conscious again. And that time he informed the actual thing what happened. So that time Mandi was able to take it, and she said, sadhu, sadhu, I rejoice on what the merit that you have done. Because she was a wife who was coming with him for so many lives and faced this situation many times in their lives, donating her children by this man. So she agreed on the merit that he has done. And later on, the Sakka thought, now this Bodhisattva, if someone asks for Mandi, he is going to offer her as well. So that he thought she should not be offered to some improper person. So he came in the guise of a Brahmin and asked for the wife, and Bodhisattva offered her as well. So later on, what happened, Brahmin Jujaka somehow went to the city of Vesantara by the influence of the deities, and grandfather and grandmother saw them, and because when they were being offered, Vesantara said, if someone wants to release you from the slavery, they have to offer this and this much for each of you. So grandfather gave more than what was required and took them away, saved them from the slavery. And later on, all of them came back and met the Bodhisattva and brought them back to the city and gave him the kingship. So this story illustrates something very important, because this is a very long story. I made it short as much as possible because of our time, because it shows that in order to be a Buddha, one needs to offer many things. We hear this in stories, but if you live this story by yourself, it seems how difficult it is, and how would have been the relationship between the wife and the husband, and how they would have faced the next day without the children. And Bodhisattva himself is a person who has emotions. So it's something very difficult, that donating such things, such as body parts, wife, children, are not something that can be done very easily. And it comes with a lot of pain. It comes with a lot of pain. After becoming enlightened, the Buddha said, I offered Jaliya, Kannajina and Mandi not because I didn't like them. I like them very much, but I like the omniscience more than that. That's why I offered them. So it shows that the path to Buddhahood is not something very easy. It's easy to tell it, but it's easy to follow it. And this is not the only life that he has done it. It mentioned that in immense of in lifetimes, he has done this, donating children and wives, and also his limbs, body parts. So if something can be donated, Bodhisattva has to donate it in order to reach the omniscience. And this seems to be the culmination of Dana Parami of our Bodhisattva. So I hope you enjoyed the story, and this will also help us to understand the donations that we are making when compared to the Bodhisattva's donations are nothing. I have to say that it's nothing to be considered. So we always need to consider that we can improve our donations, and we can make more donations in order to accumulate merits to reach the Nibbana. I think we have to conclude, because I'll be having another Dhamma talk in another few minutes. So we need to conclude it today. Yeah. So we'll share this merit with our relatives and deities and conclude the session. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Ittavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang. Sabbe deva anumodantu, sabbe bhuta anumodantu, sabbe satta anumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bhummatta deva naga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva. Chiran rakkantu sambuddha sasanang, chiran rakkantu sambuddha desanang, chiran rakkantu sambuddha savakan, chiran rakkantu tvam sada. Idamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu, idamme punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu. Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi, te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labantu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu. Buddha sasanang chirantittatu, Buddha sasanang chirantittatu, Buddha sasanang chirantittatu. Sadhu sadhu sadhu.